Aviation is associated with increased danger, and, unfortunately, extreme moments happen quite often. But fortunately, the skill of pilots and modern equipment make it possible to get out of most critical situations. Today at Eternity Lab, you are in for an exciting selection of stories that will make you look at air navigation in a completely new way.
Eternity Lab.
Imagine that. Driving along the highway to work, you run into this. Most likely your car interior will need deep cleaning afterwards. This pilot had to rely only on his skills and immense luck in the few seconds before an inevitable catastrophe. Fortunately, thanks to all of that, the disaster was avoided. You could say that the pilot of this experimental aircraft was born under a lucky star. How else could he land on an empty highway without a single scratch when the engine failed? This footage could have become the best work in the life of a plane-spotting enthusiast, and also his last. Just imagine how many flight hours these guys have, and yet, sometimes, they still have to start the aircraft engine by hand. No one is allowed to open the cockpit doors except the pilots themselves or the senior flight attendant. Well, perhaps there is someone else who can do it. The old door hinges. Imagine what kind of anti-talent for piloting you need to possess for a catastrophe to happen before takeoff, while the plane has not even left the ground yet. Here is why air traffic controllers must not get distracted or make mistakes at work. This time, thanks to the pilot's skills, the passengers did not even have time to get scared. Only the witnesses on the ground got nervous. Everyone thinks that the main enemy of a safe flight is gravity, but few people know that the true enemy of a pilot is a sudden crosswind on final approach. Landing in windy weather at St. Barthélemy Airport looks like a scene from a computer game, but the pilot's skill allows the plane to land absolutely safely, even though its trajectory looks terrifying. This is just a reminder of the human factor. Even ace pilots make mistakes. It is a blessing that this situation ended safely for everyone. He managed to correct everything. Let us see what the phrase "calm under pressure" really means, the one that so many people like to put on their resumes. It has just been demonstrated for us by the pilot of an aircraft who encountered a tornado right on the runway. Everything is fine. The flight continues as scheduled. Sometimes pilots find themselves literally millimeters away from catastrophe because of mistakes that are not always possible to fix. Fortunately, this time we are witnessing an exception. Everything turned out well. This is definitely a strange place to park, but once again, fortune handed out a winning ticket to the pilot who successfully made an emergency landing on a bridge in New Jersey. A successful emergency landing on the highway does not at all cancel a new successful attempt at takeoff. This is what happens when a pilot miscalculates the landing speed. Do not worry, he still has wheels left for another try. Think carefully before you show this video to your friends who are afraid of flying. Do not worry, the plane landed safely. Believe me, you have not had a bad day. A bad day is, for example, when $40 million just fall to the ground. The pilot managed to eject in time and was not injured. This is a greeting from colleagues returning to base. They made it very clear why. The worst nightmare of a pilot is an engine failure in flight. That is exactly what happened to this plane. The last 30 seconds were decisive for the crew's lives. Why do these planes always try to land on the highway? Do not worry, the pilot is fine. He has no more flights scheduled for today. This is what happens when a helicopter loses its tail rotor. These Indian students have just learned the difference between watching a helicopter flight and running for their lives away from an unsafe helicopter watching spot. In this case, a helicopter was called in to help in order to lift a wind turbine into place. These guys decided to take a team photo, but apparently they did not wait for one more pilot, so he decided to join the shot together with the helicopter. And this is what will happen if you decide to stop for a rest close to a helicopter parking area. When a military helicopter takes off, it will blow into the air everything that happens to be nearby. To experience weightlessness, you do not have to go into space. It is enough to have a helicopter whose pilot has a good sense of humor and a positive attitude. This helicopter expedition looks as if it is going to beat Indiana Jones to the Temple of Doom. Do not think that the helicopter is transporting a mini excavator. The Mi-26 weighs more than 28 tons, so carrying this kind of equipment is child's play for it. Yes, you see it correctly. This is the same giant Mi-26 helicopter carrying another one, smaller in size. If you are still not impressed, I will add that its own weight is about 40 tons. Appreciate the level of skill of this pilot. Look how he controls his helicopter. This was probably the coolest express delivery you have ever seen on YouTube. And now we have an example of unmatched skill. This pilot manages to land his helicopter on the platform of an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean, and he is doing it in total darkness. Believe me, the pilot laughed when he heard that aerial refueling is considered a complicated maneuver. How low can a flight be so that you remember it for the rest of your life? Most likely, the one that makes you duck your head. If you have ever dreamed of outrunning the biggest plane in the world in your car, your chance might come on the stretch of road next to the runway at Los Angeles Airport. Now let us look at a true legend of aviation, the supersonic aircraft Concorde, which could accelerate to 2,150 kilometers per hour. This is one of the impressive landings from the 1990s. What a pity it is no longer in service. Even in its glory days, not that many people saw this beauty in flight. Enjoy this passenger super pigeon, the Concorde. You have this chance because you are subscribed to our channel, right? This livery means that you are looking at the A330-900 Neo, the new flagship aircraft of Condor Airlines. This striped flight looks a bit like a sock, does it not? Airplanes are majestic and beautiful. Tell me, is it not stunning to watch a Boeing 777 flying in the rays of the morning sun? This is not a scene from a science fiction movie, but a completely real vehicle. The Singaporean company ST Engineering has announced the release of the commercial ekranoplan Airfish 8, which can move both on water and in the air, reaching speeds of up to 167 kilometers per hour. Look at this truck and at the engine from a Boeing 747 that it is transporting. Now, compare their sizes. The aircraft has 4 engines like that. It looks unreal, but we see a highway being crossed by the largest passenger aircraft in the world. It is on final approach to land at Sydney Airport, and its trajectory passes right over the road. The author of this video drew a winning ticket in the lottery. Not every day do billions of dollars fly over your head. It seems that this place is a real paradise on Earth, at least until something even more magnificent appears over the horizon. Only true aviation fans know that Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona is the largest airplane graveyard in the world. The helicopter pilot scared away the fish, but he still completed part of the mission. He scooped up water to extinguish a fire and is now heading off to save the forest. Aviation is used in raging wildfires, not only to deliver water and extinguish the flames, but also for the safe transportation of firefighters out of hot spots. These kids were lucky enough to see a real wonder: how a heavy firefighting plane takes off from the water and flies straight into the maw of a raging forest fire. I think they already know what they want to be when they grow up. The ones who lift this beast into the sky.
Okay, that one was low.
This flying monster, the Erickson Aero Tanker, is the most versatile firefighting bomber that can carry tons of water. And it is the last thing a forest fire will ever see on its way. A forest fire of this magnitude cannot be extinguished without the participation of the famous Douglas DC-10 aircraft, which is always ready to fight. And now you see a demonstration of what the final moments of a fire that our unforgettable Douglas DC-10 has successfully extinguished should look like. The Supermarine Spitfire is a British fighter aircraft from the Second World War. It fully lives up to its name, literally spewing fire. The United States Air Force is known to be equipped with magnificent aircraft. Look at what their lightning-fast navigation looks like. This is not computer graphics, but real air swirls that form at the wingtips of a fighter aircraft during an afterburner climb. I do not know what these divers are going to do down there underwater, but the most thrilling task of their expedition has just been completed before our eyes, delivering personnel to their workplace in extreme conditions. Have you ever wondered how military aircraft are washed? I think you will agree that watching an aviation wash session is just as fascinating as watching flights.
Pick up the phone.
Do not blink, or you will miss the launch of the X-47B drone. This is a multi-purpose strike unmanned aerial vehicle now heading out on its first mission. Aviation is also learning to be compact. Our acquaintance, the X-47B multi-purpose drone, can fold up like a convertible and take up minimal space. You have seen the launch of a drone. So what do you say about the catapult launch of an aircraft from an aircraft carrier? I do not know for sure whether there are already Star rocket sleighs, but the experimental unmanned XQ-58 Valkyrie is definitely bringing us closer to them.
3, 2, 1, launch, launch, launch.
However, we're going to be...
You would never guess what the pilots of the French Air and Space Force felt when they were inspecting an American military cargo aircraft. It ended up literally right in front of their eyes. Do not be afraid. Nobody is in distress. You are simply watching one of the aircraft of the United States Air Force Thunderbirds aerobatic team in flight. That is how they have fun. And now we get a chance to be in the cockpit of an elite air squadron. We are watching a demonstration flight with the same view from the instrument panel as the pilot has. Who said that a fighter pilot cannot be a little bit gangsta? The Lockheed F-117. A Nighthawk is a tactical strike aircraft that remains invisible to enemy radar. But it did not manage to hide from the eyes of the creators of this video. At least, we will get our share of unforgettable impressions. Did you know that the design of the supersonic reconnaissance aircraft Lockheed SR-71, or Blackbird, turned out to be so futuristic that it became the prototype for aircraft in the X-Men movies? Loop after loop at this kind of speed can be done either by a madman or by the most experienced ace pilot in the world, just like this one. If I had to urgently pack only the bare essentials, I would, without hesitation, take along an F-18 Super Hornet fighter jet. A full 3 storms of delight. We are watching Grumman F-14 Tomcat aircraft taking off from the deck of an aircraft carrier. This 4th-generation jet interceptor fighter is extremely convincing. It is love from the very first takeoff. This guy never eats lunch before a flight, and now you will understand why. This may look like a situation from a flight simulator, but believe me, very few gamers could play it out as brilliantly as the pilot did in real life. For this pilot, gravity stopped being a problem the moment he sat down at the controls of his F-18. This guy is so good at flying aircraft that he gets bored in civil aviation. He prefers flying upside down. This is something you probably see only once in a lifetime. A race of multi-role 5th-generation stealth fighters, F-35. You and I have a chance to look from above at how an F-35 soars upwards after the controller gives permission for takeoff. The F-35 turns so fast that it literally slices through the sky. If you are an F-35 pilot, you can watch any stadium show from the best possible position. Vertical thrust is provided by a combination of a turbofan engine and a lift fan. We have already seen the unforgettable F-35 in action several times, but this aircraft never ceases to amaze us. These lucky people got to see how the F-35 breaks the sound barrier and demonstrates the capabilities of a supersonic aircraft. Once again, the F-35 surprises us. 2 spectators who saw it for the first time simply froze when it hovered right above them. If you dream for too long about piloting an F-35, you can end up being late by whole decades. I think you can imagine how powerful fighter jets are, but just in case, let us see what effect they have on the surrounding environment. The pilots of this team are demonstrating their flying skills. They have no right to make a mistake, because here, the margin for error is literally measured in millimeters. They fly so close to each other that it seems to us we are watching the flight of a single aircraft, not a group of fighters. That is how perfect the display of flying skill is by the United States Navy and Marine Corps demonstration squadron called the Blue Angels. Imagine how many years of training you need in order to learn to fly like them.
Michigan has allowed 195 all
the hell is that? That's a stealth bomber right there. Oh my gosh. Look at that, bro.
Is that crazy? That's amazing.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Crazy. Love that. Love it.
Even the most experienced commentators freeze with their mouths open when they see the flight of the mind-blowing B-2 Spirit bomber.
It's not as quiet as you would think.
Right. Yeah, not too stealthy. It's very loud.
The B-2, an American strategic bomber, has already been in service for several decades, but its appearance still seems fantastically extraterrestrial. If you think that the B-2 stealth strategic bomber is the pinnacle of aviation engineering, get ready to meet the presentation of its brother. This is the B-21 Raider, designed for long-range missions. This aircraft is the new fulcrum of the entire United States Air Force fleet. When a designer of aircraft for the United States Navy is invited to work on submarines, be prepared to see something that looks very much like a giant manta ray. A sandstorm was raised by the work of the 4 turbojet engines of the C-17 Globemaster. This big and heavy machine cannot go unnoticed when it takes to the sky. Watching this trio of giants at the National Football League Super Bowl 2024 final filled spectators with awe. But what would it feel like to see these birds on a combat mission? Need to send a cargo craft into the air from an aircraft carrier? No problem. Just remember to raise the ramp a little higher. I swear you have never seen a cargo plane land like this before. This is the 4-engine turboprop military transport aircraft Lockheed C-130. Hercules, and if necessary, it can behave like a rocket. For example, when there is a need to evacuate soldiers from a hot zone. Pilots react to bridges the way bulls react to a red rag, but sometimes they still have to do it and fly under the structures. Do not worry, these guys are pros, but we do not recommend that you try this trick even in a computer game. Beautiful shots filmed purely for visual effect, not as an example of safe behavior during a thunderstorm. The organizers of this air show wanted to be sure that the aircraft would be clearly visible in the night sky. I suppose we are seeing fragments from the shooting of a new Fast and Furious movie where Dominic Toretto has saddled an airborne muscle car. The Italian Air Force reminded Formula One fans in Monaco that the Grand Prix is awarded for an unforgettable show that takes place not only on the racetrack, but also in the sky. And this is exactly what it looks like. Let us add some color. It is hard to imagine a more impressive place for an air show than an open space in the middle of a mountain range, except perhaps watching episodes on our channel. How confident must a pilot be in his abilities and in his home-built aircraft to perform something like this? Please, I beg you, do not try to repeat it. It is unlikely that there are people in the world who do not like the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And if there are, that means they have never seen this beautiful bridge from a bird's-eye view. While corporations like Lockheed Martin and Boeing are doing their best to perfect their models, this individual has built a homemade aircraft and is enjoying the open sky. You probably think that true top-tier professionalism is landing a plane on the roof of a moving car. But real mastery is being able to steer a situation back under control when it does not go according to plan. Next time, the spectators will choose a less dusty spot to watch the flights. Unless, of course, you actually want to feel their power up close. If the air show you were invited to is not like this, there is no point in wasting your time. You had better watch our episodes instead. The pilot landed right in front of the camera so that we would recognize his amazing skill. He set the plane down like a feather, aligning it perfectly on the runway, as if he were riding a bicycle. This incredible landing does not need any commentary. Just enjoy it. While people are buying expensive tickets to an air show, this guy watched it for free on his way to work. While you are still too young to fly a real military aircraft, you can try controlling its toy model remotely. I do not think any neighbor would dare to argue with him. This is undoubtedly the fastest vehicle that has ever driven along this road. It is generally believed that beer and flights do not mix, but this talented guy tried to prove the opposite. Today, you have seen several low passes of aircraft, but agree, none of them can compare with this one. If you have never understood why engineers are obsessed with aerodynamics, just look at this. If someone asks you why you love aviation, show them this clip. If you have ever wanted to touch the clouds, your path lies in becoming a pilot, because only they can really do it. Which story seemed the most thrilling to you, and which one maybe became your favorite? Tell us about it in the comments. You were watching Eternity Lab, the laboratory of eternally relevant content. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out our previous episodes as well.